Hello everyone. So we have a lot to talk about regarding the past 2 weeks or so with Xbox. So Microsoft recently announced that they have shut down 4 Bethesda studios, that being Tango Gameworks, Arcane Austin, Alpha Dog Games, and Roundhouse Games. This has been an absolute disaster, understandably so. I think people are finally realizing that Microsoft doesn't mean a single word they ever say, and that they genuinely don't know what they're doing. Tango Gameworks created Hi-Fi Rush, and if you're familiar with Hi-Fi Rush, you know that it was praised across the board, even by Microsoft themselves, with Aaron Greenberg, general manager of Xbox, literally saying, Hi-Fi Rush was a breakout hit for us and our players in all key measurements and expectations. We couldn't be happier with what the team at Tango Gameworks delivered with this surprise release. So you have to ask, if Tango Gameworks was shut down, even after the success of Hi-Fi Rush, not just any success, mind you, this was the most well-received Xbox game in years. If that studio isn't worth keeping around, then what company under Microsoft is? No one else under them has had even close to the amount of critical acclaim that Hi-Fi Rush had. And it's not just Hi-Fi Rush. Tango also made the Evil Within games, and I think those are some of the best horror games to release. They're a genuinely talented studio, and I know for a fact that they'd make even more great games if they stuck around. Not to mention that Microsoft has been trying to grow in the Japanese market for a while now, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Tango Gameworks was the only Japanese studio under Microsoft. Maybe there's one more I'm not thinking of, but point is, they had a talented Japanese developer under them, which was one of their goals, and they threw them away like trash. And I know I'm harping on Tango Gameworks a lot here, but the other studio shutdowns are bad too. Arcane Austin was another pretty beloved studio. They made the Dishonored series, very beloved franchise, and they weren't even done supporting Redfall, which is another game they made. They had a whole roadmap to get through, including an offline mode, and they were literally shut down before they could finish it. Redfall will never complete its roadmap and will never get an offline mode. And yes, I know Redfall fucking blows. It's a terrible game, but that's not the point. My point is the abrupt and reckless nature of these shutdowns. This clip I'm about to show you has been going around again, and the irony is just mind-blowing, so here it is.
We acquired Lionhead in 2006, shut it down in 2016. A couple years later, we reflected back on that experience. What did we learn? How do we not repeat our same mistakes?
You acquire a studio for what they're great at now, and your job is to help them accelerate how they do what they do, not them accelerate what you do.
This clip has aged horribly. Clearly they have learned absolutely nothing. Let's go over to the recent interview with Sarah Bond, the president of Xbox. She responded to the shutdown of these 4 studios in probably the least meaningful way imaginable.
Related to some of the trends you're identifying, earlier this week, Xbox announced the shuttering of 4 game studios. I know you're not the studio's chief, but how should gamers understand that move in terms of Microsoft's commitment to developing innovative exclusive games?
Yeah, it's always extraordinarily hard when you have to make decisions like that. I'll go back to what I was saying about the industry, and when we looked at those fundamental trends, we feel a deep responsibility to ensure that the games we make, the devices we build, the services that we offer are there through moments, even when the industry isn't growing and when you're through a time of transition. And the news we announced earlier this week is an outcome of that. And our commitment to make sure that the business is healthy for the long term.
A lot of that means absolutely nothing, or is just completely contradictory. She says something about this being good long term, but I feel like this is literally the opposite of that. If they were thinking long term, they would have kept their most successful studio in recent times around to put out more successful products. There's a lot more to that interview. Pretty much nothing she says makes any sense. She randomly brings up the Fallout show.
The Fallout TV show was on Amazon.
It's just a disaster of a response all around. I think we're realizing that no matter who it is, Sarah Bond, Aaron Greenberg, or Phil Spencer, that they will say whatever they need to get people off their backs. They will lie at any given moment to get back on people's good side, and it's not working anymore. I mean, the things they say are insane. They literally at one point said that they will not shut down Arcane Austin, despite Redfall flopping. They also said we want to spend more time with Tango Gameworks, and like I said earlier, they also said they couldn't be happier with Tango Gameworks. You would have never guessed that their days were numbered after hearing shit like this. Matt Booty's response to these shutdowns was honestly probably the worst one yet, though. He said Xbox and their studios were spread too thin. They spent billions of dollars on Bethesda and Activision. Whose fucking fault is that you're spread too thin? Maybe don't throw a shitload of cash at giant studios if you can't manage that many studios. But honestly, that could just be yet another lie. I wouldn't be surprised because I don't think this multi-trillion-dollar company would struggle with that personally, but what do I know, I guess. And amidst all this news, there are reports that they're planning to increase the price of Game Pass again. And this is not a surprise to me at all. I knew that Game Pass was not profitable from the beginning, to be honest. There was no way it was going to be, despite people praising it to high hell. Just fundamentally, I wouldn't expect it to be. So the ship is sinking. It's been sinking for a long time now, but I think they are past the point of being defended. It's kind of to the point where if you are defending this shit, then you're kind of just being delusional or in denial. So I'm just waiting for the day Phil comes out with an empty promise like he always does and says, sorry guys, promise we'll do better. Hellblade comes out in like 2 weeks from now, and there's been no marketing for it at all. I haven't seen a single ad for it yet, and that has people worried that Hellblade is dead on arrival because it's already not the most biggest hype game out there. So for that game to have zero marketing is not good. I think they've genuinely just given up, and that simply isn't fair to Ninja Theory. That game might just flop, and who's to say they won't shut down Ninja Theory right after if that happens. Hell, if it is successful, it might still be shut down if Hi-Fi Rush is anything to go by. But yeah, that's about it. We'll see how this all pans out. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.